his job. That's entirely separate. And in fact, one of the commissioners, a guy named Jim Kellogg, spoke for a while in the meeting, and he made it very clear that there is no waning support for Richards in his mind.
I appreciate the outpouring of support from the hunting and fishing and sports community that we've had here today. To me, this whole thing is becoming scary for our future. We have to educate the public that if it wasn't for legal regulated hunting, we wouldn't have any wildlife conservation in the state of California.
Well, he's a firebrand, isn't he?
By the way, the point that he's making there is something that a lot of the public speakers made, which is that when you go hunting in California or you go fishing, you got to buy a permit. And I think there's what they call tags that you have to put on certain animals after they've been killed. And there's a fee collected for all of those. And the fees are apparently what funds a large majority of the Fish and Game Department's wildlife conservation work. So the point that kept coming up in this meeting over and over again from the people that support Richards and say they want to be able to hunt is that, after all, the money to do all of the good stuff that the animal rights folks were talking about comes directly from the people who are hunting based on state law. And they were trying to draw the connection between them. And what Kellogg is saying here is that he's scared because with the uproar that happened out of the Richards thing, he thinks that means that there's probably not a whole lot of political support for people who want to go out and hunt.
I hunt, fish all my life. I hunt out of state. The last 3 years I actually hunted in Canada. I'm going to do it again this year. I hunt with guides and outfitters and hunt on an Indian reservation where they beg us if we see a wolf to shoot it.
Hang on, this is important here.
Haven't done that. And if I do, as of this meeting, you won't see no picture of me with it.
He says he goes out of state and hunts things that you can't hunt in California.
Right. Wow.
He does it too. The joke he's put there is just that he's not going to photograph it and let it appear on the cover of a magazine. And then Dan Richards finally spoke at the very end of this whole ordeal of a public comment section. He did not talk about this issue directly. He simply said that he was grateful that a lot of people had shown up and that so many people had different opinions about it.
Divergent opinions and a lot of good dialogue, and so we appreciate that. And more importantly, I think people throughout the state get to see that comment as well. So I think it's not just everybody in this room. So anyway, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And we will move on with our agenda.
There you go. That was that. All right, Eric, thanks for that coverage.
Okay, guys.
All right, Eric Leonard, who covered this meeting out in Riverside. By the way, even the New York Times weighed in on this. They have a section on their website called Green, a blog about energy and the environment.
Do you love the name of the woman who wrote this? Felicity Barringer.
This is great.
Doesn't she sound like someone who's probably not in favor of hunting? Felicity Barringer.
She writes
on the fainting couch.
Paul Rogers of the Mercury News wrote that the dispute reflected a societal shift of significant proportions. Game is hunted to make the landscape safe and enjoyable for humans. Wildlife needs protection from humans. And Rogers actually wrote that since 1970, the number of people with hunting licenses in California has fallen 61%. To just 268,000 people last year, even as the state population has doubled. And there's actually an assemblyman, and I think it's Jared Huffman. He wants to change the name from Fish and Game Commission to Fish and Wildlife.
Oh, that's friendlier and softer.
Yeah, the idea of game brings up hunting. That's game. Right. We're going to go out and kill them.
That's right. We're going to kill the big game. No, it's wildlife.
Meanwhile, what we were talking about before with Eric, and he touched on it at the beginning when he came on the show, was whether or not they're actually going to remove Richards by a vote of the legislature. And it looked like, towards the end of last week, this had full steam ahead, led by this assemblyman from Logan Heights, which is down in the San Diego area, Democrat Ben Huiso. He said, there was already 40 assembly members apparently who had signed some sort of letter asking Richards to resign. And Huiso said, we're going to go ahead. We're going to try to do it. And then all of a sudden, yesterday or the day before, he just stopped short. The state Senate was a question mark. He's 21 over there. That may have been the stopping point. Or maybe this occurred to them. They're getting themselves into, as the British would say, a sticky wicket. If they're going to start removing people because they are obeying the laws of California, but going to another place where something that's illegal
Right.
in California is done.
What do you think these guys are doing?
Yeah.
What do you think these assemblymen are doing when they go on their junkets?
Nevada prostitution?
Yeah, well, yeah, Nevada prostitution.
It's legal in some sections of
or,
Nevada, right?
Trips to certain cities in Southeast Asia, like Bangkok.
Oh.
You don't want to go digging
So
too
that brings
deeply.
that lady back, huh?
Yeah. Also, and here's
So really, right now, we think this could be a dead issue, that perhaps he doesn't have the votes and they're going to give up on this. We don't know that for sure. Originally, he was scheduling something for tomorrow, but we don't think that's going to happen.
5.5 years ago, the Republicans tried to pull this on another Fish and Game commissioner, Judd Hanna. They were angry. He was a Republican hunter, and the Republicans turned on him because he wanted to ban the use of lead bullets in a condor habitat. They wanted to reduce lead poisoning of condors, and Hanna's the hunting groups opposed it. And so these 34 Republican state senators state lawmakers wanted him out, and he resigned.
Yeah, because I was going to say that they didn't have a majority in 07.
This was a
They
Republican.
couldn't have removed him with that Democrat vote.
But they called Schwarzenegger.